Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and man, I've had a long weekend. I was up in Atlanta. My son was doing one of these perfect game tournaments up there in Atlanta, or perfect game, like what do they call them? I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, my son was up there doing that. He's in high school now, and the lefty pitcher, baseball. This kid's getting better, so we'll see. Okay, wanted to show you this because we hear about Binance and Coinbase all the time. They get all the headlines. Uphold to me is the monster that's flying underneath the radar. I wanted to show you this clip right here. This is about that license that only 23 firms, was my understanding, in the UK got this license. I think it's called the FCA or something like that. Listen to what J.P. Tierra, Vice Chairman at Uphold, says.
Of notice, but Uphold has successfully gotten the UK crypto permission. It cost us nearly 30 million bucks. At one point, we had 200 consultants working on it.
Wow.
It's an eye of a needle that neither Coinbase nor Binance nor Revolut has succeeded in achieving, and maybe more surprisingly, Bitstamp, which was really the first UK native crypto exchange, they haven't gotten it either. So there's 23 of us that went through the brain damage. The flip side still has to happen, in the sense that Coinbase and others remain serving UK customers under the argument of reverse solicitation, which is what Uphold uses in a lot of the world. But expressly, the decision to go through the brain damage in the UK was that the PRA unequivocally says you can't do reverse solicitation in the UK. So, I think for the full effect of that to come to pass, the PRA is going to have to hopefully stick to their guns. But I don't know how much money Coinbase and others is throwing at, appealing, postponing, don't kick us out type stuff. But I would guess, tens and tens of millions.
So that's big time. And just a reminder, I own Uphold that I bought on the Link2 platform, and I think they've got some of it available right now. I think the Ripple sold out, but I think that Uphold's one of those that's flying under the radar, that's going to come out of nowhere. Now, let's talk about these markets, because there's all kinds of sell-off in really all markets. And I talked about this a little bit last week. Having gone through the financial crisis in 2008, even though what makes sense is certain things, and certain things should go up, the money should hit the floodgates when they leave the stock market, which has been propped up for 10 or 15 years now, that money should be going to places like gold, for instance, in my opinion. But it doesn't. The way these things work, and this is why I said last week, and I'm going to keep saying it. What I'm doing right now, and I did one of them this morning, and I'll show you in a minute, is when in this time they're raising interest rates, so they're basically collapsing the entire bubble that the Fed and all of these guys on CNBC helped to prop up and perpetuate all these years. So this money is now being sucked out, and in most cases, it goes to cash, because cash is king in these situations. So what I've been focused on is creating myself a cushion of cash. And then once I have a comfortable cushion of cash for weathering any kind of storm, that's when I buy the dips. So I bought the XLM dip this morning. I'll show you that in a minute. But what you don't do, what you do not do in situations where we could be heading to an interest rate rising situation after a buildup the way that we've seen over the last 20 years. You don't get into leverage, folks. Leverage is a nightmare. You never, in my opinion, buy on leverage. This guy's calling Michael Saylor out. Saylor, you took on leverage to buy Bitcoin top. You did it with other people's money. You are what is wrong with finance. Repent, kneel before me, confess your sins, beg forgiveness. I'll save those you've destroyed. Ladies, liquor, and leverage are how smart men go broke. And he's showing here, breaking MicroStrategy just borrowed $205 million against its Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. Okay? Unbelievable. I would not want to be him, Michael Saylor, right now. This is, when things kind of get like this, it's very important to me to show you history and what's going on and some of the things I've learned, just so that you're aware of what can happen and how I'm thinking in this situation. They say that every 90 years humans repeat the same behavior. 1916 to 1929 versus 2000 to 2022. The end game. This was the Great Depression where it dropped off. Now, the point I want to make is here's what we know, folks. We know that the governments, the central banks, and all these people around the world, they've been claiming there's going to be a Bretton Woods moment, a new world order, and all this stuff for years now. And we know that all of it has to do with a transition to this new digital economy. I've always believed in the back of my mind, I've had many conversations behind the scenes that as a part of that, they were going to have to bring down this system and roll it into this new system. Hence, up from the ashes, we've seen the phoenix rise and all this stuff. Well, I've always believed, and that's part of the reason I always wanted to have a cash cushion, is because I've always believed that from these ashes, at some point, they would crash the system or let the system crash, and then up from it. And here's the thing, folks: when people get desperate, they'll accept anything. That's what I've always believed kind of might be part of this. This new digital economy, the people that saw it coming and the people that were ready and prepared and built their houses out of brick and were ready to be able to hold through these downturns, in my opinion, those are the ones who are going to be, in my opinion, some of the wealthiest people probably in the history of the world. And when I say that, I'm talking about XRP and XLM. But you might like something better. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum. It's XRP and XLM. It always has been to me. So I want to show you this. The market is at 1.5 trillion. Okay, and I want you to understand. Back in, I can't remember if it was 2018, 19, and I also want to make one other point before I forget. 2018, 19. This is when all of these guys started really getting the big boys, the Wall Street guys, they're getting their custody ready and all that. They've been working on all of this stuff for the last 3 to 5 years, folks. So others might think, oh, this is another crypto bear market and this is going to be some extended thing. We're going to go another 2 or 3 years in a bear. No, this is different from last time. This is just my opinion, but this is different from last time. Last time, the infrastructure had not been built. We went through, a lot of us were here, we went through that 3-year bear market where all of the Wall Street guys kept saying, oh, Bitcoin and all this is going to go to zero. Meanwhile, we know now that they were all accumulating and they were building their custody. In comes Gary Gensler. We get a lawsuit against Ripple. Who's Gary Gensler helping to defend? And now, make no mistake, another point I want to make no mistake. You're going to watch Gary Gensler point at the crypto market now, and he's going to say, see, this is not protecting investors. See how this market's going down? And he's going to act like somehow it has to do with the players involved to this point. And he's going to say, what we need is the guys who have been doing this, the Wall Street guys. He's not going to say it that way because he doesn't want everybody to see who his puppet masters are. But he's in essence going to I believe the timing of this is perfect. He's going to now hand this industry over to the JP Morgan and the Goldman Sachs and the boys. and they're going to get to ride this thing to the new heights and the places it's really going to go. So I'll say it again. I'm going to make sure I have a cash cushion. I'm going to buy the XRP, XLM, and gold dips, because I think gold is going to be a critical part of this system we're about to roll into. And so if I'm anybody out there, that's what I'm doing. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but remember this, folks. In the crypto bear market back in 2018, 19, and all that, this went down to $100 billion. So if you think the digital asset investor is sitting around where, oh, the markets are down, everything's getting killed. No, I'm seeing the opportunity in them there hills, folks. All right, this guy, Coins Kitty, says XRP sitting on the edge of 54 cents. Cliff peering down. The last time XRP put in 6 weekly red candles was way back in 2017. We all know what came next. I can't be bearish until key support is lost. Sorry, not FA. Well, let's make another point here, folks. Here's the other point. There's only one, and I really think there's only two digital assets who have something coming which no other digital asset has. XRP and XLM are pretty much the same thing when it comes. I think that was XLM a fork of XRP? I don't know how that exactly worked, the tech of that, but it's these two. They set their all-time high on the same day in January of 2018. They have not achieved their all-time high since that date, neither one of them. Every time one of them goes up, the other follows, okay, pretty much. And that's the way it's been for years now. So when I see out in front there being a resolution to the lawsuit against Ripple, I look at it as a resolution for XLM too. And for that reason, I buy both of the dips, and that's the way I will be doing it. Now, Gator Trader said XRP, if this isn't textbook accumulation, I don't know what is. Beautiful. Now, I will be accumulating through this thing. That's just the way it is. Today, I bought the XLM dip, and it felt so good. My plan, after cash cushion in place, which I feel pretty comfortable right now, buy the XRP, XLM gold dips. Because look, in my opinion, just for me, those three things are the one, that's what is really going to, and there's going to be a handful of others in my opinion, but those three, when this transition flips over, how many times do you have to see, and I'll show you another one today, how many times do you have to see things like this to not know what's coming, folks? This is stellar. This week, leading fintech Novati Payments announced that it will launch an Australian dollar-backed stablecoin on Stellar. How many times do you have to see these things, folks? Gold's not going anywhere. God's money, I believe, is going. I believe that when this U.S. dollar reserve currency status, I believe when we roll into a new system, at best, the U.S. dollar is going to have to share its status with a basket of other currencies. But I believe any kind of transition to a new system has to involve gold somehow. And for that reason, I buy the gold dips. This guy makes a great point. You might want to do that soon. Marks a reversal sentiment, in my opinion. Tether is being minted right now. Every time that's happened in the past, it's a way for them to pump up the Bitcoin market, and then it pumps up the altcoin market. So we shall see on that. Breaking news, gold and other precious metals, ETFs, have attracted 57.5% of all positive inflows in the commodities category. Moving along. This is interesting. Daily Mail doing a piece on the weather this weekend, and one of the photos captures an XRP fan. Look at him. That's pretty cool. XRP people are out there. Here's a good one from James Rule. And by the way, let me thank James Rule. I was complaining about my problem with carpenter bees, okay? I had carpenter bees. They were drilling holes in my wood. James Rule sent me, and if anybody needs it, let me know. James Rule sent me a chemical that you could buy on Amazon, which I did. And he said, you spray this every 2 months and you won't even see a carpenter bee. So I was looking around after spraying it last week, And I literally, not only did I not see a carpenter bee, I didn't see any insects. And I'm talking about all day long, just sitting on the porch looking, nothing. James Rule knows what he's talking about when it comes to carpenter bees. So thanks, James. SBI Africa announced on the 9th that cross-border EC site SBI Motor Japan supports payment with crypto assets, virtual currency. Cross-border EC site SBI to support Bitcoin and XRP payments. There we go. Now look at this. Rosie Rios, who's on the Ripple board, said good to connect with old friends at the White House. That's not a bad place for us to be, is it? One of the board members at Ripple to be sitting there just feet away from the President of the United States. Then there's this. Now, folks, this weekend, I haven't seen the video yet, but I saw a little bit of the talk on Twitter. Brad Combs from Digital Perspectives floated a theory, and I can't remember exactly what he called the theory. I think it was called the Hinman gone rogue theory. And the theory my understanding of it is that it basically goes like this. We know that all of these people, like 15 or 20 people from the SEC, we saw the emails where this Stuart Young had done the Freedom of Information Act request. Stuart Young, there were emails that had gone around between all these SEC officials and Bill Hinman to work on the speech that became the Ethereum Free Pass speech. Well, the theory goes that all of that was happening. Bill Hinman was letting all of them put the speech together, and it was basically a speech that was going to say that once a digital asset is sufficiently decentralized, then it would be not a security. But the theory goes that the way I understand it, that Ethereum by name was not going to be in the speech that went around with all of these people, and that Bill Hinman, and in my opinion it would have been Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton, who are the two guys who were actually, the way we see it, might have had a financial incentive to do it. Those two guys got together, and at the very last minute, either Bill Hinman or Bill Hinman in communication with Jay Clayton alone, not the other people, threw Ethereum, one line on Ethereum into that speech to give Ethereum a free pass. Now that is an interesting theory. And then Stuart Young here, he says, question raised by Brad Combs spurred me to write to all the SEC contributors. This is the list of all the people who were in the email loop on the speech. This is what he's writing to them. I'm writing to all involved in the construction of the Hinman Free Pass speech, as recently confirmed in the SEC Freedom of Information Act request disclosure of 5/5/2022, asking were the Ethereum Free Pass comments baked into the original drafts of the speech that Hinman gave, or did he include it on the fly without advising others? I would appreciate it if you can confirm. Here's what this Hinman gone rogue theory reminds me of, folks. I remember being in a link to video Zoom that was recorded. You can go back and I think you can go back and listen to it. I remember Jeremy Hogan, because I was in it and I asked him this question. I remember Jeremy Hogan saying that he had been doing some lawyer work and he had talked to some people that were at the SEC. And I remember him saying that the people he talked to, I remember him saying something to the effect of that Hinman went rogue. Okay, so now we know that he didn't go rogue, in that we know that those other SEC people were involved in crafting the speech. Question is, did Hinman go rogue after they went through all the drafts and then Hinman had it? And did he go to Clayton and say, all right, do we add this Ethereum thing in? And then they dropped it in. I don't know why people are thinking this, but it makes a lot of freaking sense, folks. Makes a lot of sense. And it made me think of that when Jeremy Hogan said that. And then here, Hinman email recipient number 10, Brett W. Redfern, director of the SEC's Division of Trading and Markets, announces he's quitting seven days before the SEC sues Ripple. The question you start to have to ask is, if all of these people were involved in that email loop, and if Hinman did go rogue, that would mean that Hinman basically screwed over all of those people at the SEC, and they had to have been really pissed off at what had just happened, I would think. If I helped in going back and forth on the draft of such an important, what everybody knew would become such an important speech. If I had helped on that and helped Bill Hemmon on that, and then at the last minute he took what we had all contributed to and threw in something, two things would be going through my mind. One, what is this shady mofo up to? And two, this guy screwed us all over because we were sitting here helping in this, and then he adds something out of nowhere that we did not agree to. I'd be pissed. Did these people quit? Did these people start to see what was going on when they realized that these same guys were going to sue Ripple after what they had done with that Ethereum free pass speech? That's my question. Did I skip one? No, that's right. Okay. I want to finish with this. Kava 10 update. The Kava 10 upgrade is now scheduled for May 25th. The reschedule is out of an abundance of caution to ensure a smooth launch. The recommendation is to vote no on Prop 80 for May 10th launch. Thanks, Kava Squad. So this will be in the top of the description. If you want to go follow these guys at Kava_platform, they are busy. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. The Kava 10 upgrade is now scheduled for May 20th.